Hey everybody, Sneaky Narcotic, back at it again with another YouTube video, and today we're going to be going over some more Theros Beyond Death in-depth spoilers. Before we get into the actual video of the day, guys, let me please ask y'all to like, share, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, and I would greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, let us get into some spoilers for today. Our first spoiler of the day is Birth of Meletis. So this is a one generic, one white enchantment saga. It is uncommon. The first saga says search your library for a basic land, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. The second saga says create a 0/4 defender artifact creature token, and the third saga says gain 2 life. So this card is pretty interesting. It's a saga. You know, it's not the best saga they've ever printed, but it's pretty good for a 2-drop saga, especially when we're really focused on enchantments with Constellation being in standard, but also with certain cards that want enchantments to be in the graveyard that we'll be mentioning later on in the video. I do appreciate that this is kind of like a... I don't want to say ramp because that's not right. It's more like a filter card with the first saga. So as soon as it comes down, you can go ahead and grab you a basic land and put it into your hand. And then the second part, on turn 3 with 2 mana, you made yourself a 0/4 defender, which a lot of creatures don't have 4 power. So that's going to be a 0/4 defender that's really helpful throughout the rest of the game. The gain 2 life, it's but at the same time, you know, sometimes you just want to gain some life. So, I think the cards I came up with on this, are actually on the next slide, because I also thought this card paired well with Heliod. So, Heliod's Suncrowned is 2 generic, 1 white, legendary enchantment creature, god. Mythic rare, indestructible, as long as your devotion to white is less than 5. Heliod isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control, which I think that's pretty cool because you can put them on the gods themselves without them having the right devotion, and that's pretty neat in my opinion. But then his last ability is to give 1 generic, 1 white. Another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. Can give himself lifelink, which would have been OP as hell for a 3-drop 5/5. But it does give another creature lifelink. So the reason why I think this card pairs well with I almost forgot the name, Birth of Meletis, is because being able to put +1/+1 counters on your defender and then giving it lifelink at instant speed is pretty good. It probably makes the Meletis card playable just with these 2 cards. But there's also this pretty prevalent deck in standard right now. And yes, this is the cards that can help those 2 cards. So the deck is the Ajani's Pridemate, Bloodthirsty Arrowless deck that uses Impassioned Orator. Is already getting a boost from Treacherous Blessing, which is going to be insane. You know, draw 3 cards for 3 mana, and you know there is a downside, but with Impassioned Orator and the whole gaining life from your boy Heliod over here, it's not that bad of a setback. As well as Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, allowing you to be able to bring things back from your graveyard and gain some life. So I really think this card's going to be really good. These 2 cards are going to be really good for this. I keep thinking that they're trying to really push this Life Matters deck, is what I call it, between Heliod and the Meletis, the Birth of Meletis. I really don't like going up against this deck, mostly because it's so oversimplified. It's sickening. I like to play challenging decks. And just this deck never feels challenging to me, but it's a really good deck, fairly cheap if I remember, fairly cheap. So to have these 2 new cards added to it would be pretty nice, I think. The next card for today is Nadir Kraken. 1 generic, 2 blue mana creature Kraken. It is of rare rarity, and it says whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1 generic. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Nadir Kraken, and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token, which he's already a 2/3, so just one will already give you a 3/4. So I really like this card. I super like this card. It's so flavorful, giving you tentacles as well as beefing itself. It's kind of like a Hydra that that makes a token deck. And I'm actually building a Torbond, I want to say, Sky Summoner deck for a challenge in our commander group in real life. And so this card is actually going to go in that because it's a lot of drawing cards from instant spells. And so just tacking on 1 extra mana to each one of my instances is not that bad when I'm getting these 1/1 blue tentacle creature tokens already. So here is my thoughts for standard, though. We have Firemind's Research. It's just another card that lets you draw cards. Basically, the reason why I pick Firemind's Research over any just generic instant or sorcery to talk about first is because you can continuously use that ability over and over again, on top of also using the instants and sorceries. So that's the reason why I mentioned Firemind's Research. The actual card, Niv Mizzet, for playing Niv Mizzet and having the Nadir Kraken on the field, you can deal 1 damage to any target, draw a card, and pay 1 generic more for each draw. That would be pretty good. You know, draw a card off of Niv Mizzet, pay 1 generic from that, draw a card off of Opt, pay 1 generic from that, and that would make an Opt. Then it would make an Opt, 1 blue mana plus 2 generic mana to give Nadir Kraken 2/2, and make 2 1/1 blue tentacle creature tokens. Then you deal whenever you draw a card, then you deal 2 damage. I really think that would be pretty good. I do. I think that would be pretty good. So, anyways, let's go into the next card. This card I wasn't too excited about. It's Aphemia, the Cacophony. I don't know if I said that correctly. The Cacophony. 1 generic, 1 black mana, legendary enchantment creature Harpy. It has flying. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile an enchantment card from your graveyard. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So this is what I was talking about. This card is going to really appreciate having sagas, because sagas can easily go to your graveyard, unlike other enchantments that might just sit there for a while. And of course, enchantment creatures as well would be a pretty good thing to have, but I don't really think it's worth it because it only happens once per end step. So once for your end step. So literally once per rotation, you can get a 2/2 black zombie creature token. It's a legendary creature, and I really think that's the setback. If it was not a legendary creature, this card could have potential. It has no butt. It's a 2/1, so it dies to literally tripping over a ladybug. So I don't appreciate this card. I wish it was a 1/2 at least, and that would make me maybe flip my idea. But because it can literally die to anything, I'm trying to remember that card. I want to say it was Volcanic Cosmo or something like that, and it was like deal 1 damage to each creature. This card would die to that, and that was such a simple board wipe of just basically tokens. I think from M19. Anyways, different rant for a different day. I just feel like there will be a better way to make zombies, hopefully. But let's continue. The next card we have here is actually Mire Triton. So if you're going to want to put cards in the graveyard, this is going to be really good. For escape, Mire Triton is 1 generic, 1 black creature, zombie merfolk, and it is an uncommon. It has Death Touch. It's a 2/1, and then when Mire Triton enters the battlefield, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, and you gain 2 life. That's pretty good. A creature that gains you 2 life when it comes down has Death Touch. I like this card, I really do. Caught between life and death, between land and sea, between thought and oblivion. Ooh, that is some heavy flavor text there. I think this card will play really well with escape cards. Trying to fill your graveyard up so that you can use those escape cards. But also with our little Harpy legendary enchantment over here, because then it can help fill up the graveyard. Another thing that could possibly help our little Harpy enchantment over here is the new saga, the Mire Triton Calls the Dead. 2 generic and 1 black, and earlier I didn't say what a saga does, so here, let's do that for this video. As this saga enters, and after you draw, after your draw step, add a lore counter, sacrifice after 3 sagas. So, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may exile a creature or enchantment card from your graveyard. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. That happens for the first 2 lures, and then the 3rd lure says you gain X life and scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. So, I feel like this is more... I know more better is not a good phrase, but it's better for Commander than it is in Standard. I just don't feel like Zombies really has the... what am I looking for? Support in Standard that it needs right now. It does in Historic because of Death Baron, but as far as Standard, it really doesn't. So I really think between the Harpy and Mire Triton that there's potential for you to get some type of thing going for zombies. I mean, there was this whole thing with the mass, if I'm not mistaken. The mass zombie creatures that it could fly, but I don't remember if that was because they were zombie armies or if it was because they were armies. So I'm not going to put my foot all the way in my mouth. That is a possibility, I guess. It's a far stretch at best. I really don't like the Harpy, but I do like these 2 cards, especially for Escape. So there's that. Yes. So, my friend told me that this is a reprint, actually, and I did not realize that, so I'm glad he did, because I didn't play with the original Theros, and I did not know. Idyllic Tutor. 2 generic, 1 white mana, sorcery, rare. Search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Pretty good card. Any tutor is going to be a pretty good card, no matter what the cost is. First thought that came to mind is the card from earlier, Heliod. Heliod is an enchantment, so you can tutor up Heliod, directly put it into your hand, and if you had enough mana to play Idyllic Tutor, then you're going to more than likely the next turn have enough mana to play Heliod. So I think that is pretty good, especially in a Standard that we're about to have the potential for God Tribal. Idyllic Tutor might see a lot of play. The other thing I was saying, and this is just me bringing an idea to the table, with the hope that Constellation will get some more support in future spoilers, Idyllic Tutor might end up in some type of Selesnya, Naya, Constellation deck, maybe a Bant Constellation deck. These are just theories I have because those are the 2 colors that I think would do really well with Constellation. And of course, Setessan Champion is my go-to for Constellation right now because she is the card that I always wanted but didn't deserve. Sadly and lovely. I think Idyllic Tutor probably go ahead, if you can order these cards, you pre-order these cards, go ahead and get you 4 copies of Idyllic Tutor because that card is going to go up probably week 1. And since it's a reprint, according to my friend, I don't think they'll ban it. and they shouldn't because it's just a tutor. So yeah, go ahead and get you 4 copies. That card's going to be insane in standard. Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths. Ooh, Half-Truths. 2 generic, 1 blue, 1 black, legendary creature, human advisor, and it is a rare. It has menace, it's a 3/2, and when it enters the battlefield, target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So, I appreciate that they kind of stayed on flavor with the whole half-truths by having a face-down pile and a face-up pile. That's pretty cool. I was telling my friend that I'd be the mean guy that would, put a land in the face-down pile and put 2 really good cards in the other pile and be like, yeah, go ahead. And knowing my friend, he would actually pick the face down pile, and I'd get to laugh at his face for picking a land over 2 really good cards that could have saved his butt. But, anyways, this card reminded me a lot of things. First off, I wanted to mention that it would go well with Escape, because the cards that you don't pick go into your graveyard. So especially if you see that face up, they gave you some Escape cards, that gives you less of a gamble. Or any type of recurring cards, not just Escape. But also, this gave me a great opportunity to mention a new Escape card. Escape Velocity. 1 red mana, enchant creature. It's an enchantment aura, uncommon. Enchant creature gets +1/+0 and has haste. And its escape cost is 1 generic, 1 red, exile 2 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape cost. And the flavor text reads, "Not even death can catch me now." So, I would like to say too, this is like the first escape card that has a reasonable escape cost, in my opinion. I wonder if Wizards has been listening to me about how escape cost is just god awful. I think I saw a card the other day that was like 2 red mana and 8 cards to exile other than itself, and that's ridiculous. So yeah. The next idea I had was to be able to reoccur it, because it's just such a fun ability and it's super useful. It's basically gives you opportunity to honestly draw 2 cards. I would kind of always pick the pile that has 2, just because I like more cards in my hand than I do edgewise. I honestly feel like it would be better to pick the face-up pile as long as you want it. You know, if it's just like a land, then, you know, play the gamble. But if it's not a land, I might take it, you know. And Kaya's Ghost Form lets you recur this if he dies, which he's a 3/2, so it's easily died if you use it as a blocker anyways. And this card reminded me a lot of Fact or Fiction, the whole choose 2 pile, or your opponent separates these into 2 piles and you pick a pile. So I really like that they can still find ways to do Fact or Fiction. You know, in fact, it's the same mana cost. It's 4 mana. You know, just in black and blue instead of just blue. So I really appreciate that the similarity, I guess, to Fact or Fiction. If you want to play in Commander, it could be kind of a cool little, like, Demir politics. If you can find more cards that do something similar to this, that would be pretty cool in my opinion. The next card. 1 with the stars. 3 generic, 1 blue. Enchantment, aura, uncommon. Enchant creature or enchantment. Enchanted permanent is an enchantment and loses all other card types. It still has abilities, but it is no longer a creature, which means that it cannot attack. So, sorry. Wrong button. I do and don't like this card. It's way too much mana, in my opinion, for basically a pacifism in blue. I don't like it. It's an uncommon. Can't ask for much. Inspire Fear. 3 generic, 1 green mana. Instant. Prevent all combat damage this turn that would be dealt this turn, except combat damage that would be dealt by enchantment creatures and enchanted creatures. Scry 2. So this is a pretty cool card. It's kind of like a half fog, or more like a one-sided fog. And, you know, this is probably going to be a sideboard card. It is a common. It's probably going to be a sideboard card just because if you're going up against an opponent that is playing enchantment creatures or enchanted creatures, then it's a 4-mana Scry 2 in green, and that's not that great. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great either for a competitive deck. So this is probably in the sideboard of some Constellation deck or like an Aura Voltron deck. Could be fun. Could be fun. Last card of the day, Devourer of Memory. 1 blue, 1 black, creature nightmare uncommon. Whenever 1 or more cards are put into your graveyard from the library, Devourer of Memory gets +1/+1 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 black. Put the top card of your library into your graveyard. It slips silently through the still waters of the Labyrinth of Memory to feed, and it is a 2/1. So if you mill yourself, it becomes a 3/2 unblockable. That's not bad. That's a 5, 6, 7 turn clock by itself. It's not bad, but at the same time, I don't like self-mill unless you're planning to win with self-mill, so not really my forte. I do appreciate that it can get itself off, you know, and on curve too, you know. The next turn afterwards, if you get another land, then you can play it. You can put the top card of your library into your graveyard. So I feel like it would work really well with what is that card? Drowned Catacombs. I wish I would have a picture of that right now. But it's a card that says if you play a blue spell, you can mill target player's library 2. So, you know, I'd rather mill myself once, but, you know, milling yourself twice isn't that bad either. But anyways, guys, thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm going to be doing these videos every single day they put a spoiler out, as long as it's more than like 5 spoilers. So please like, share, subscribe, keep up to date, and I will see you guys in the next video.